in China with changing with church congregation. Please enable me, hold my mouth and tongue, so that I may deliver what you taught me. Thank you. Pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. So, as all of you know, I with Pastor Shin visited China to meet Chenji. So today I want to share what I learned through Holy Spirit through this trip, so that you may also know what Holy Spirit teaches us to our church in these days. As I promised to you, I stayed in the hotel right in front of our university. So I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with her one day, whole day. So we spent like more than 12 hours, except one break. And through that time, we had just great time. And lunch and dinner was really good. And through that time, I studied with Chenji. I taught Chenji on soteriology. This is a study about salvation. We studied this together more than 4 or 5 hours. And then after dinner, we had a great time in dinner. And then after dinner, we talked. I heard about what happened last 1.5 years in her life, and what she did for her ministry. And I gave her advice, and she was comforted, and also she shared with me the things that happened inside her heart toward her job to become a professor in the Hwanam, South China University, and also her relationship and her plan, also her life in the church, in cell, how she's delivering gospel. And I encouraged her, and we comforted her, each other so much. At one point, she said to me, when she was told that I and Pastor Shin is visiting her through Dr. John, she was actually going through a very difficult time. And she was just going through a difficult time, and she was ready to come out again. And at that point, she was told about our visit, and she cried a lot. Not because you're coming to her, but because God is taking care of her. So that's, I think, important. And I realized that this trip, God led us, and God invited us to this trip. So I want to share, before I finish, I want to share with you 3 important points that I think Holy Spirit is teaching to our church. First, our ministry of this church is far bigger than we think. It's very serious business. Once you got involved, then you are in very serious business. Because what we did here is just a starting point. We sent one little girl. You remember how she was waving hand? One little girl, Chinese girl, to China, and make us visit to China, and gave us this much encouragement. And also, Elder Song and Pastor Shin visited Vietnam last time, and you saw also through their visit what happened to us. Avang and Bin and Huang came to our church. And this is so serious business because this is just beginning. I imagine that we will be visiting Ethiopia some years later, and I would imagine we will be visiting Rwanda some years later. I imagine we will visit India some years later. So this is just a start. In 1 year, how many nations can we also visit? Cambodia sometime later. How many countries should we visit? And you are all invited to this ministry. That's how I felt. Second, that gave us our identity, who we are, what kind of church we are. Some of you may think, or I sometimes just tend to think, that our church is serving international students. In that way, many of professors been in the United States, and we were in one of those churches where students are taken care and then they just leave. So people come and stay 5 or 6 years, have a good time, and leave. And people who stay here and serving them. So they experience, people here, they experience so many times of separation. You spend 5 or 6 years with students, and good students, and you just have to let them go. That's what happened to Chenji. But this trip gave us, clearly taught us about identity of our church. If you spend here 5 or 6 years and go back to your country, that's not end of our relationship. That is actually beginning of our relationship. It's beginning of our relationship in much deeper degree. Because we will be belonging to each other, and 1 year later, we'll meet you, and we have much better, much deeper the fellowship in your countries. So this is a completely different identity. We are having continued relationship. Anyone come here, okay, spend some time here, and then that's just beginning of forever relationship. So you're not just visiting here. Third point, give us vision. Then 1, 2, 3, and third point, automatically give us vision. When we know who we are, then what kind of vision we should have. Some of you may have vision to be sent off. Some of you may have a vision to training them. Then it's not just we have fellowship here, but we need to focus on being trained, being taught, and then some of us should be very much focused on training and teaching. How we can be better in teaching, how can we be better and be trained. So that defines, give us idea about how we should spend our time here when we have just such a short time, like 5 or 6 years. And that gives us to think that is repentance to me, because sometimes we spend too much time about ourselves. We spend too much, we give too much focus on our own problem inside here. Sometimes we complain about what's happening. We have too small space and all these kind of things. But when you go outside and you visit them, visit Chenji and me, then it gives us complete different perspective. So I invite all of you to next time to have a trip to some other countries with Pastor Shin and me and Elder Song. That will give you a completely different perspective. And Chenji gave us gift to this church. This is a tea. So I was leaving the next day to airport. I thought I will just go to, I will find subway. So I was going wrong way. I met Chenji, but she was going, come back again to meet me in the morning, the next day, toward my hotel. And I thought I'll find my way, and Chenji told me that's not the way, you're going wrong way. And she visited me again to deliver me this gift to church. This is a tea. She made this by herself. Oh. So I hope I would enjoy this, and whenever you have this feed, you remember Chenji. And also, the last thing I want to share with you is, when I visit her house, in one side there was a refrigerator. The refrigerator covered the photos. And most of the photos are about our churches. In the middle of that photos, you saw it in here, in the middle of that photo, there were 2 photos, 2 pictures. One photo when she was received baptism. Second photo next to is when she was leaving this church, when she was sent off as a missionary to China. So I hope you pray for Chenji. I also pray for your ministry. Thank you.
I also want to give a short testimony because it's unfair if he gives testimony only. When I sent her off, I thought Chenji is very weak, not ready to go back. I was worrying a lot. 제가 첸지를 중국에 보낼 때 걱정 많이 했습니다. 저렇게 가서 너무나 어렵고 잘 서바이브 할 수 있을까 걱정했어요. But when I get there and met her, I found out she is so strong. I was so amazed. And the first night when I met her on Tuesday night to have a dinner together, she brought me a lady to whom she was delivering gospel to her. But she couldn't make it for 1 year, so she brought her friend to deliver gospel together with me. 제가 첫날 화요일 날 첸지를 만나서 저녁 같이 먹을 때 저는 둘이 이렇게 개인적인 얘기를 하고 격려하려고 그랬는데 자기 1년 동안 자기 실험실에서 전도하려고 계속 복음을 전했는데 잘 안 되는 자매를 데리고 왔어요. 그래서 we had so many good dishes I want to enjoy, but I couldn't find time to do that because I have to deliver gospel all time. 제가 그 로컬 아주 맛있는 음식 딤섬 같은 걸 준비해놓고 먹고 싶어서 눈이 가는데 전도하느라고 먹지도 못할 만큼 그렇게 시간을 보냈어요. That's what change is. Change, as soon as she heard that we are going there, she thought about she has to deliver gospel to landmates. So I find out she is very strong. So I'm very confident about you too, because when Holy Spirit is with you, you can be strong always. Also, I was invited to deliver gospel to her cell meeting, as you saw. In the cell meeting, when I shared the change story from the baptism to the sending her out, they were so surprised to hear that. 제가 첸지가 들고 있는 주중 셀 미팅에 참여했는데 첸지는 그 셀 미팅 상의를 드러내지 않고 계속 전도만 했는데 잘 몰랐어요. 근데 제가 첸지가 훈련받는 상황을 알려줬더니 그 사람 너무 놀라는 거예요. And then another story I heard from her landmate was her parents also visit Chenji, but when Chenji heard our coming to her place, Chenji was more pleased than the fact that her parents coming. 제가 첸지 그 랩메이트한테 들은 얘기인데 첸지가 부모님이 자기를 방문하러 왔을 때보다 우리가 간다고 할 때 더 기뻐했다고 그렇게 얘기를 했습니다. But anyway, I'm so happy. I was so happy to see God is working through His church, and it is your story and my story. And 제가 이렇게 말씀을 나누는 것은 여러분과 저에 대한 하나님의 사랑이 얼마나 큰지, 어떤 귀한 일을 맡기셨는지 나누고자 합니다. More than that, we have a great servant of God today who is going to deliver gospel today. 또 오늘 여러분에게 한 분 주의 종을 소개하려고 하는데 we have been given a message about Holy Spirit for the last several weeks. 지난 몇 주 동안 계속 성령의 역사, 성령에 대해서 말씀을 들어봤는데 now we are having one servant of God who can give a testimony about the work of Holy Spirit. 근데 하나님께서 놀랍게도 그 성령의 역사가 지금 일어나고 있는 현장에서 그분의 종을 한 사람 보내셔서 그 말씀을 듣게 하게 하셨어요. Personally, he was in the mission in North Africa, and then in the middle of mission work, he coughed up blood in the middle of the mission. So it was in the urgent emergency